The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. The author of this story is named John Chieska. I think I pronounced that right. And the illustrator, can you remember what the illustrator does? They paint the pictures, don't they? Or use a computer program to create them. Well, their name is Lane Smith. Are you all sitting comfortably? Then I will begin. Now, everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. Should we say hi to Al? Hi, Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it is all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. Anyway, like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a delicious birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So I went next door to ask if I could borrow a cup. Now, the guy next door was a pig and he wasn't too bright either. He had built this whole house of straw. We know straw isn't very strong, don't we? Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? Are you coming here, Rupert? I think Rupert wants to listen too. Come on. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, "Little pig, are you in?" But there was no answer. I was just about to go home with a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, and that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed the most enormous sneeze. And you know what? The whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, look, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it all up. Think of it as a bit of a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went on to the next house. The guy who lived there was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house, but still nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. Are you ready, Roo? Achoo! And you're not going to believe this, but this guy's house fell in just like his brother's. When the dust had cleared, there was the second little pig, as dead as a doornail. Wolf's honour. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling much better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, so I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house, but there was no answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, wolf, and don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on again. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 little pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the real big bad wolf. That's it really, the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. The end. What do you think? Do you think it was the real story?